Let's explore how late-stage capitalism affects the richest and the poorest and meditation. Tonight's lesson is drawn from my adaptation of the sixth passage of Dzogchen Rinpoche's Shakyamuni's Heart Treasure. Together, let's chant. Alas, how discouraging to see the beings of this degenerate age. Alas, can anyone trust what anyone says? It is like living in a land of vicious man-eating demons. Think about it and do yourself a big favor. Okay, this is a side view of the human brain. This is the forehead, this is the top of the head, this is the neck, and this is the back of the head. I often refer to a book by Peter Joseph known as the New Human Rights Movement. In it, we learn of the comparison between chimpanzees and bonobos. Bonobos are very groovy apes. They live in a literal matriarchy, and they settle most disputes through sexual negotiation, which sounds very groovy. On the other hand, you have chimpanzees who are psychotic bastards who are just as soon as kill you as look at you. However, you might not know this, but our friends the bonobos and the chimpanzees share a common ancestor. The primary difference between the two is not genetic, but merely circumstantial. Bonobos live in safety and plenty. Chimpanzees live in peril and scarcity. The more peril and scarcity that abound in our environment, the more our blood is going to collect in the lower region of our brain, known as the amygdala, that functions as the seat of both aggression and anxiety. The conditions of late-stage capitalism feed the experience of scarcity and peril. We evolved to live from our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons and the seat of empathy. We thrive most when instead of competing, we cooperate. And instead of harboring cruelty, we harbor compassion. When our prefrontal cortex cooperates with our amygdala, at best we can be clever. However, when our prefrontal cortex cooperates with our anterior cingulate gyrus, then and only then can we be truly wise. When greed is rewarded, when cruelty is rewarded, the vast majority of people feel peril. They feel artificial scarcity. This feeds aggression. This feeds anxiety, creating a toxic downward spiral, as if we were a demon living on an island populated with other demons, each of them demon cannibals, eager to devour their companions. That's not the way of peace. That is not the way of sustainability. That is not the way of love. It has been said by those more intelligent than myself that we live in an inverted totalitarianism, where corporations and oligarchs have bought and paid for our senators and congresspeople, and where multiple peer-reviewed studies have shown that the will of the masses no longer holds sway over legislation, but instead the will of the well-heeled and moneyed elite. this is giving rise to the degenerate state that we see in the world around us. The resurrection, like a monster from a B movie, the resurrection of jingoism and fascism and sexism and racism and classism. The not one, not two, but 3 genocides running concurrently right now, according to the United Nations. This is not the hyperbole of a meditation teacher, but something that we see in the world around us and that is acknowledged by international organizations. I don't want to be vicious. And if you've come to this meditation class, you most likely do not want to be vicious either. So let's return to this image of the brain. When we have, if we practice concentration and contemplation, we're going to exhaust our prefrontal cortex, and we're going to also cause ourselves to be even more cranky and aggressive. And we can't fight hate with more hate. It doesn't work well. Never in the history of our species has hate created love. But if instead we rely upon our autonomic nervous system for both mindfulness and meditation, the blood that has gathered in our amygdala will move to our anterior cingulate gyrus. Our propensities to be ruled by anxiety and aggression will be transformed by the propensity to be ruled by empathy and wisdom. We can create a spiritual revolution within our own bodies. Now, there's nothing spiritual about being controlling. We cannot coerce someone to be loving and spiritual. But the more loving and spiritual we are, the more people will be drawn to the path we tread. The more people that are drawn to the path will master the path. And the more people that master the path, then they too will passively draw others to the path. And that is how, as a species, we jete away from the precipice of our own self-destruction. I look forward to chanting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Whoops, you know what? I forgot to put my ring light on. I'm trying to develop that into a habit. Let's see here. Ooh, right in my eyes. Let's put it that way tonight. And let's see if I can apply it to the device without loss of life or limb. It's a muggy day here in Southern California, which means it's both gloomy and humid and warm. So let's see. Let's begin by reviewing the mantra's meaning as well as train in bliss and love and letting go. And that can be done as simply as placing one's hands in the puckered palm position before one's chest and chanting these true triplets. With whom we metaphorically invoke the example of the Muni wise one, Maha greatly wise one, Muni, yea, of the Shakya Soha, wishing enlightenment for all. For the remainder of this evening's practice, we're going to be dragging the spontaneous play of mind, kicking and screaming into the path of awareness and letting go. This is known by many names, including Dzogchen's Great Completion Stage, Sutra Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, and Trekcho, which could translate as slicing through the duality of hope and fear. So tonight we're going to flip and flop back and forth between mantra meditation and silent meditation. So this is the essence of mantra meditation. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite, relaxing into the awareness of this. Now, the intelligent question is, what is this? This is whatever comes up, whatever cartwheels across the stage of our mind. This could be our perception of appearances or sights or sounds or sensations or flavors or scents or the like. It could also be our emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. It could pertain to the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, and the grotesque. Now, what do we do with that which we notice? Ha ha ha. As we exhale, we physically relax as best we can into the recitation of the 12-syllable mantra, which we intend to perform 4 times per breath. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Suha, 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Suha. Remember, for the remainder of this evening's live stream, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Suha, 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Suha. We're now going to begin our first of 4 steps to the mastery of silent meditation, or at least to get you up to cruising altitude, contemplative cruising altitude. We're going to start with the idea of training wheels, clunky but useful. Let's begin by contemplating mindfulness. Every time we breathe in, I guess I should back up. Our job is not to concentrate upon our breath, but to simply use our breath as a metronome. Every time we breathe in, whether we know it or not, we are spontaneously and effortlessly accessing our sympathetic nervous system. It is not to be found within the 3-pound supercomputer between our ears, but rather in our spinal cord, specifically in the thoracic region. Please forgive the artistic license of the individual who drew this graphic. The thoracic region corresponds with our rib cage. This sympathetic nervous system is not wired to support either extreme of mind blanking or active concentration. Instead, it has evolved to take the middle ground of simply noticing and doing so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. This vulnerability is exemplified by the nudity of this archetype of meditation, known in Sanskrit or described in Sanskrit as Samantabhadra, Samantabhadri, Karma Mudra. Now that we have a good beginning, we can practice Sati Pasadi's mindfulness and meditation as easily as silently and mentally reciting, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind during each inhalation, and silently and mentally reciting, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature during each exhalation. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. We now shall remove the first of two metaphor training wheels. Every time we exhale, now we're going to explore meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are automatically and effortlessly accessing our parasympathetic nervous system. It too is found in the spinal cord in both the lower lumbar region as well as the tippy top of the cervical region. It evolved to support both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release, so that we can think of this literally as well as figuratively. Literally, every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel less graspable. And now, let us enter the world of hyperbole and figures of speech. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Now, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although it could be tantalizing to the eye, is intangible to the hand? Perhaps that is why this meditation archetype, which is known in Tibet as Kuntu Zangpo and Kuntu Zangmo Yabyum, is depicted as being translucent, comprised of light, and non-graspable. How are we going to practice mindfulness? As we inhale, we could silently and mentally recite sitting tall, thus generating a vertical traction between our tush and our head. How are we going to practice meditation? Simple. During each exhalation, we're going to physically relax. We're going to silently and mentally recite, relaxing. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa, 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 Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. As a fringe benefit of mindfulness and meditation, and as we mentioned during the opening lesson, the blood that has coalesced at our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression, can dissipate and then recoalesce at our anterior cingulate gyrus, the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy. It has been said that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. Perhaps that is why the meditative archetype, known, translated literally into English as all good one's mother and father, are depicted as beautiful. How are we going to practice dhyana's mindfulness and meditation? Simple. During our inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite and notice this. And during our exhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite relaxing. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Sawa 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 Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Sawa. Let us remove the second of two metaphoric training wheels. And let us consider for a moment the behavior of these meditative archetypes. This cloud-colored gal appears to be sporting in wild abandon in tantric union, thus reminding us of the superiority of spontaneity to contrivance. The sky-colored guy appears to be savoring a tantric union quite passively, thus reminding us that the greatest spontaneity is not scattered but centered. When our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, our life could be as blissful as a real or imagined Buddha's paradise, or Pure Land, or Vati, or a painting depicted by Maxfield Parrish. How are we going to practice the Great Seal's mindfulness and meditation? Simple. During each inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and during each exhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. Now, I'm well aware that Maxfield painted two people, both young and both white. So if you got a beautiful paradise graphic that depicts people other than just Europeans, please send it to me, and I will, if I think it's pretty enough, I will happily incorporate it into the text. Now that we have reached contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as young Luke Skywalker on Dagobah under the guidance of Yoda. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. The formal translation of Kuntu Zangpo Yabyum is all good mother and father in tantric union. All good does not mean that these are real entities in the heavens to be worshipped. It means that this is an archetype of us, and we are already good. We already have the good sympathetic nervous system that equips us for mindfulness. We already have the good parasympathetic nervous system equipping us for meditation. We already have the good anterior cingulate gyrus equipping us for love's centered spontaneity. We have all that we need to master the Buddha's path in anywhere from 16 weeks to just 7 days. When the ancient texts say we are already Buddhas, that is simply a metaphor. When it says there is nothing to do, which means they're saying that we already notice, we already release, we already empathize. All we have to do is step gingerly out of our own way. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. 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 Let us rest in Proto-Zen's mindfulness and meditation. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. 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 Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa 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 Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa. Allow me to remind you that on the path of non-duality, it's not a question of what emotion you feel or how intensely you feel it. An emotion is just an emotion. As long as we notice it and our observation is followed by relaxation, it will not control our choices, utterances, or deeds. So there is no good or bad emotion. There's simply a good or bad reaction to it. And of course, the best reaction is to notice it and relax. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa. It's not our job to chase identities or titles. The more we chase a title, the more we grasp. But we're on the path of letting go. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Eswa. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. 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 Om Muni Muni ma muni swa 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 Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeswa 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 Om Muni Muni Ma Muni muni yesuwa. Om muni muni ma 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 Muni Yesuwa. Let us seal this practice by training in love and letting go. May all master letting go and love. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. 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 May all master kind communication, conduct, and commerce. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. 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 May all master the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa 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 Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead to tomorrow's early meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.